All right, guys, lesson 45, classifying quadrilaterals. Say quadrilaterals with me. Quadrilateral. Quad means four. Laterals talks about its sides, four-sided figures. Now, you know a bunch of these quadrilaterals down here, but I'm going to teach you some things that maybe you didn't know about quadrilaterals. This here is a quadrilateral. I know, it kind of looks like a diamond, kind of strange. This here, trapezoid, parallelogram, rectangle, square. You don't know those names yet, don't worry. That's what we're doing today. It says, recall from lesson 32 that a quadrilateral is a polygon with four sides. Although all quadrilaterals have four sides, quadrilaterals have many different shapes. Here's an assortment. We can classify or sort quadrilaterals into different types, such as squares, rectangles, parallelograms, trapezoids. In this lesson, we will learn ways to sort quadrilaterals, and we will practice drawing and naming these quadrilaterals. One way quadrilaterals are sorted is by parallel sides. Recall that parallel segments run in the same directions and remain the same distance apart. So this is oblique parallel, this is horizontal parallel, this is vertical parallel. Now notice those are just two, so we got to connect those dots like we've been doing in some of our assignments. If we put the left pair of segments and the center pair, we get this quadrilateral. That's called a parallelogram. If we put the right pair and the center pair, we get this quadrilateral. That's a rectangle. Both of these quadrilaterals have two pairs of parallel sides. Below, we show some more quadrilaterals with two pairs of parallel sides. Using a finger or an eraser of your pencil to trace the pairs of parallel sides on each of the quadrilaterals. We're just going to point to them. Top and bottom are parallel. Right and left are parallel. Oblique and oblique parallel. Oblique and oblique parallel. Horizontal parallel and oblique parallel. Parallelograms. All right. So here we're going to divide these up into different kinds. Let's start on a piece of paper at the way top. All four-sided figures are called quadrilaterals. Underneath quadrilaterals, we're going to divide them into three groups. If it has parallelograms, that's two pairs of parallel sides. I love that word, parallelograms. If it has one side, so I'm going to say two pairs. One pair of parallel sides, those are called trapezoids. And over here, if it has no pairs of parallel sides, zero pairs, that's called a trapezium. Those are the strangest parallelogram. They almost look like they shouldn't be shapes. Trapeziums. All right, two pairs of parallel sides are parallelograms. One pair of parallel sides is trapezoid. Zero pairs. Now the sides that we'll have the most of are this one. These are the ones where the most common. Squares fall underneath here. Diamonds fall underneath there. Parallelograms fall underneath there. This one goes under this one, this one, this one. Those all fall underneath here. A few fall under trapezoids. And then the trapezium, we see very few in the real world. All right, well, let's go on to trapezoids. Trapezoids is another type of quadrilateral. Trapezoids have only one pair. Here's what they look like. You can make a trapezoid. I'm going to draw them over here. Short top, long bottom, trapezoid. You could have a square side over here, short top, long bottom, and you got a trapezoid. Only one pair of parallel sides. It says, draw an example of a parallelogram, a trapezoid, and a trapezium. So if we're going to draw a parallelogram, example number one, just make yourself a square, or a rectangle, or a parallelogram, which is with the sides turned sideways. Okay? Trapezoid. Short top, long bottom. It looks like a trap. You try to go in through the top and you get stuck down there. That's a trapezoid. And a trapezium. A trapezium, I always say make the bottom side straight. Make an angle side shorter. And then connect those things. And then you got a trapezium. Notice this is not parallel and this is not parallel. Okay? Example number, let's continue our chart here. Underneath parallelograms, we have two different things. Over here, we would have a rectangle. And the rule for it to be a rectangle is it's got 4 90-degree corners. Okay? And underneath there, you'd have a rhombus. Now look at the rhombus is kind of squished down, so those are not 90 degrees. To be a rhombus, you have 4 sides that are all the same. That's a rhombus. So go ahead and put a rhombus in there. Rhombus talks about the length of their sides. Rectangles talk about the degrees. Now, if you got all the sides the same and 4 right angles, that's a square. Now, what's really weird is a square's got a lot of names. This square has a lot of names. A square is a rhombus because it fits the rhombus rules. Has the same length on each side. A square is a rectangle. I know they didn't teach you that in kindergarten, but I'm teaching you now. A square is actually a rectangle. It's got 4 right corners. A square, if you follow up the tree, is also a parallelogram. It has 2 pairs of parallel sides. A square is also a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides. Okay? All right. So there was our rhombus and there was our square. Example number 2 here says, this figure is an example of a square. Which of the following could not be a square? Can a parallelogram be a square? Sure, if it's got the same length of sides and right angles. Could a rectangle be a square? Yes. Could a rhombus be a square? Yes. Could a trapezoid? Trapezoid's only got 1 pair of parallel sides. So that's the one that could not be it. Okay? So for example number 2, we're going to put trapezoid. Alright, down at the bottom, let's take a little look at our lesson practice here. It says the word parallelogram, trapezoid, trapezium, rectangle, rhombus, and square were all used in this lesson to describe quadrilaterals. Use every word that applies to each quadrilateral below. Okay, we're not going to do them all because it would take forever. We got A. You might recognize that as what? Okay, a rectangle. Go ahead, put down rectangle. Are all the lengths the same? No, so it's not a rhombus. Are all the lengths the same? No, it's not a square. Is it a trapezium? No. Trapezoid, 1 pair of parallel sides? No, parallelogram. So for A, you'd have 2 answers. It is a parallelogram, and it is a rectangle. Let's go on to B. Now B you might recognize right away. That is a trapezoid. And look under our trapezoids. Do we have any other shapes underneath there? No, so that's it. If you're a trapezoid, you're a quadrilateral, you're a trapezoid, you're done. Moving on to C. Is C a parallelogram? 2 pairs of parallel sides. Yes. If you're a parallelogram, you're not a trapezoid, trapezium. So is that a rectangle? Does it have right angles? No. Is it a rhombus? Yes. All the sides are the same length. All right. Do one more. D. What is D? Now you should recognize D. It's got it going away, so they're not parallel. Going up and staying horizontal, so they're not parallel. So that is a trapezium. Alright guys, we're not going to do box number 6 today. I think we covered them all. If we got to F and said, what is this? This is actually a parallelogram, that's a rectangle, that's a rhombus, that's a square. So a square can be a lot of those. As we work through our assignments the next few weeks, we'll have questions about these. Refer back to our pages, especially this one with your chart here. Okay? Alright, stay tuned for the second video to get some help.